He believed he had lived alone in the forest for years, but an alien girl was always watching him. Ethan had stopped counting the days a long time ago. Time did not matter in the forest. The sun rose through tall, glowing leaves, and it set behind thick mist and strange vines. That was enough to mark a day. He lived alone, or at least he believed he did. Years ago, his exploration ship had fallen from the sky like a burning star. It screamed as it broke through the clouds and crashed deep into the endless forest of this unknown planet. The impact killed the others instantly. Ethan survived only because he had been thrown clear of the main wreck. When he woke, his leg was broken, his supplies were scattered, and the ship was nothing but twisted metal and smoke. He waited for rescue at first. He built fires. He climbed hills and looked at the sky every night. No one came. After weeks turned into months, Ethan understood the truth. He was alone. The forest became his world. It was dangerous, but it also gave him everything he needed. He learned which plants burned slowly, which animals hunted at night, and which sounds meant death was close. He built traps from branches and sharp stones. He made a small shelter against a massive tree whose bark glowed faintly blue at night, keeping predators away. Ethan was not strong, he was not fast, but he was patient. Each day followed a routine. He woke at first light. He checked his traps. He cleaned his tools. He spoke out loud sometimes just to hear a voice, even if it was his own. He named objects to remind himself he was still human. The axe was old friend. The fire pit was home. Loneliness was heavier than hunger. At night, when the forest came alive with glowing insects and distant roars, Ethan often felt watched. The feeling crawled up his spine like cold fingers. He would turn suddenly, holding his spear tight, but he never saw anything, just trees, just shadows. He told himself it was fear. Fear played tricks on the mind. What Ethan did not know was that he was right. High above him, hidden among branches that bent like liquid glass, someone watched quietly. She had been watching for a very long time. Her name was Seelin. She was small, even by her species standards, with pale skin that reflected the forest's glow and large eyes that could see heat, movement, and emotion all at once. Her people lived hidden beneath the forest floor, observing the surface world but never touching it. Humans were classified as unstable creatures, emotional, short-lived, dangerous in groups, harmless alone. Ethan was supposed to die within weeks. Instead, Seelin watched him survive storms, wounds, hunger, and isolation. She recorded everything on a thin crystal device wrapped around her wrist. The elders had ordered her to observe only, never interfere. At first, she followed the rules. She watched him fail again and again. She watched him bleed and cry when his leg refused to heal properly. She watched him scream at the sky in anger, then fall silent and whisper apologies to no one. But she also watched him adapt. He learned the forest faster than any creature she had studied. He remembered patterns. He respected danger. He did not kill unless he had to. When he caught an animal, he used every part of it. When a storm destroyed his shelter, he rebuilt it without rage. Seelin did not understand that. Humans were supposed to be chaotic. One night, a shadow moved behind Ethan's shelter. It was a forest hunter, tall and silent, with claws that could cut stone. Seelin's breath froze. The creature was not supposed to come this close to the glowing tree. Ethan was asleep. The rules said not to interfere. Seelin hesitated for only a moment. She activated a small device and projected a sharp sound far away, mimicking the call of wounded prey. The hunter turned, confused, then vanished into the darkness. Ethan slept on, unaware that his life had almost ended. The next morning he woke with a strange feeling. The forest felt different, quieter. He stepped outside, spear in hand, scanning the trees. "I'm not alone," he whispered. The words tasted dangerous but also hopeful. Days passed. Seelin stayed closer now, too close. She watched from nearby branches, fascinated by the way Ethan talked to the forest. thanked it, and cursed it in the same breath. She watched him stare at the stars every night, his face filled with something she could not name. It was longing. Ethan built something new. A signal fire, not for rescue anymore but for answers. Thick smoke rose into the sky every evening. "If you're out there," he said one night, voice shaking, "you don't have to hide." Seelan's heart raced. Humans were not supposed to sense watchers. Her elders would be furious if they knew how close she had allowed herself to get. She stayed silent. A storm came without warning. The sky cracked with light and rain poured like falling rivers. Ethan tried to secure his shelter, but a branch snapped and slammed into his shoulder, throwing him to the ground. Pain exploded through his body. Seelan moved before she could think. She waited until he passed out, then descended from the trees. Up close, the human looked fragile, scarred, older than his years. She treated his shoulder with careful precision, using tools far more advanced than anything Ethan could imagine. When she was done, she vanished again, heart pounding. Ethan woke hours later, soaked and shaking. His shoulder barely hurt. That was impossible. He sat up slowly, staring at the bandage wrapped around his arm. It was clean. Perfect. "This isn't a dream," he said softly. He looked into the forest, fear and wonder mixing in his eyes. Somewhere above him, Seelan watched, knowing the truth could not stay hidden much longer. The forest had changed. And so had the rules. Ethan did not sleep well after that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he felt the memory of the clean bandage on his shoulder. He touched it again and again, checking if it was real. The pain was almost gone, healed far faster than it should have been. No animal could do that. No accident could explain it. Someone had helped him. For the first time in years, fear was not the strongest feeling in his chest. Curiosity was. The next morning, Ethan did not follow his normal routine. Instead of checking traps, he stood still and listened. The forest sounded the same as always, yet something felt close. He spoke out loud, slow and calm. "I don't know who you are," he said, "but thank you." The words floated into the trees. High above, Seelan froze. She had expected anger, panic, maybe violence. Humans were known for those things. Gratitude was not in the reports. She watched as Ethan bowed his head slightly, a small, respectful gesture. It confused her more than anything else she had seen. Seelan recorded everything, but she no longer sent all her data to the elders. Some moments felt too personal, too important. Over the following days, Ethan changed his behavior. He cleaned the area around his shelter more carefully. He left food near the forest edge, never touching it afterward, not as bait but as an offering. "If you need it," he said quietly, "it's yours." Seelan's hands trembled when she saw that. No human had ever done this. Her people believed humans took without thought, but Ethan measured everything. He gave thanks before eating. He apologized when he cut down trees. He even spoke to injured animals before ending their suffering, his voice gentle and full of regret. Seelan felt something warm grow inside her chest. She did not have a word for it. The elders noticed changes in her reports, less detail, delayed transmissions. They summoned her. The crystal walls of the underground chamber glowed as the elders appeared. Their forms were taller, older, their voices sharp. "The human should be dead," one elder said. "Explain." Seelan lowered her eyes. "He adapted." "That is impossible," another replied. "Humans require structure, community." "This one built his own," Seelan said before she could stop herself. Silence filled the chamber. "Observation only," the lead elder warned. "No interference. Emotional attachment leads to disaster." Seelan agreed. She always did. But her heart was already disobeying. Above ground, Ethan tested something new. He placed small stones in patterns around his shelter, not as traps but as markers. If something moved them, he would know. That night, Seelan stepped too close. A stone shifted. Ethan woke instantly. He grabbed his spear and rolled to his feet, heart pounding. The forest held its breath. His eyes locked onto the moving leaves above. Please, he said, voice steady but soft. I'm not your enemy. Seelan stayed perfectly still, barely breathing. Minutes passed. Finally, Ethan lowered his spear. Okay, he whispered. Another time. He went back inside. Seelan collapsed against the branch, shaking. No human had ever spoken to her like that, not with fear, not with hate, but with trust. Days later, danger returned. A pack of forest hunters moved into the area, 3 of them, silent, smart, too many for one human. Seelan alerted the elders, requesting permission to intervene, denied. The human is not worth exposure, they said. Let nature decide. That night the hunters attacked. Ethan fought like a cornered animal. Fire, spears, noise. He injured one, but another slashed his leg, deep and bleeding. He fell hard, breath knocked from his chest. Seelan could not watch him die. She broke every rule. She dropped from the trees, activating a light pulse that stunned the hunters. Their screams echoed as they fled into the forest. Ethan stared up at her. For a long second, neither of them moved. She was smaller than he expected. Glowing eyes, skin like moonlight, not human. Not animal, real. Ethan did not scream. He struggled to sit, pain twisting his face, but he forced himself upright. Hi, he said. The word surprised them both. Seelan hesitated, then raised her hand slowly, copying his posture from earlier observations. I watched, she said in broken human language, her voice soft and careful. Ethan swallowed. His hands shook, but he kept them open. You saved me, he said. Yes. Why? Seelan searched for the right answer. Because you should not be alone. Something broke inside Ethan. He laughed once, sharp and breathless, then covered his eyes. I thought I was, he said quietly. Seelan treated his leg quickly. Her movements were gentle, respectful. When she finished, she stepped back, clearly afraid. Ethan did not move toward her. Thank you, he said again. Above them, hidden sensors recorded everything. The elders watched in shock as the human did not attack, did not threaten, did not demand answers. Instead, he protected her when distant sounds signaled returning danger, positioning himself between her and the dark. The council realized too late. This human was not weak. He was dangerous in a way they had never measured. And he was no longer alone. The forest felt different after that night. Ethan could feel it in the air, in the way the animals stayed farther away, in how the glowing plants dimmed slightly as if they were listening. He sat near the fire with his legs stretched out, watching the small alien girl across from him. Seelan stayed near the edge of the light. She did not sit. She did not relax. Her eyes moved constantly, scanning shadows, branches, and the sky above. Even now, after saving his life, she looked ready to disappear at any second. Ethan broke the silence. You can sit, he said gently. I won't hurt you. She tilted her head, studying his face, his tone, his posture. Slowly, carefully, she lowered herself onto a smooth stone. This was not how first contact was supposed to happen. Seelan had learned many things about humans by watching. Their anger, their fear, their strength in groups. But this moment, quiet and fragile, had never appeared in any record. I was not meant to be seen, she said. I figured, Ethan replied, but I'm glad you were. Her eyes widened slightly. Why? He thought about it for a moment. Because I was forgetting what it felt like to talk to someone. That answer struck her harder than any threat. They spent the night speaking in pieces. Seelan's understanding of human language was incomplete, but it grew quickly. Ethan spoke slowly, using simple words. He explained how he came to the planet, how he survived, how he stopped hoping for rescue. Seelan told him about her people. Not everything, just enough. They watch, she said. They study, they do not touch. And humans, Ethan asked. She hesitated. Humans are unpredictable, he smiled faintly. That sounds right. Above them, hidden far beyond the trees, alien observation platforms shifted position. Silent machines focused their attention on the firelight below. The elders watched. They saw the human laugh softly when Seelan struggled with certain words. They saw him offer her food before taking any himself. They saw him flinch when she described how long she had been watching him, then slowly accept it. No fear, no rage, this was wrong, the council argued. He is manipulating her, one elder said. He is bonding, another replied. This was always the danger. The decision was made quickly. The human could not be allowed to spread. The next day, Seelin returned to Ethan's shelter at dawn. Her expression was tense, her movements sharp. They know, she said. Ethan understood immediately. They're coming. Yes, for me. For you, she confirmed, and for me. Ethan stood slowly, testing his leg. It held. Okay, he said. Then we don't panic. Seelin stared at him. They have advanced weapons, shields, drones. Ethan nodded. I know the forest. That surprised her. He moved fast, pain forgotten. He packed essentials, extinguished the fire, erased signs of their presence. He led her through paths only someone who had lived there for years would know. Places where the ground swallowed sound, where thick mist confused sensors. Alien drones entered the forest hours later. They were silent, precise, deadly. They scanned heat, movement, energy. They found nothing. Ethan guided Seelin into a deep ravine covered by hanging vines. He covered their tracks with ash and water. He waited. When a drone passed overhead, its sensors confused by the glowing plants and shifting temperatures, Seelin felt something new. Hope. They are searching wrong, she whispered. They always do, Ethan said. They expect fear. The elders grew frustrated. How is he evading detection? He should not know our methods. He adapts, one voice said reluctantly. The drones pushed deeper. One found Ethan's old shelter and destroyed it completely. Seelin flinched. Ethan watched silently. It's okay, he said. It was just a place. That answer shook the council. Most species defended territory. Humans defended people. The drones finally found them near dusk. A pulse of light cut through the mist. Seelin froze. Ethan reacted instantly. He threw a flare into a nearby cluster of reactive plants. The explosion of light and sound overwhelmed the drone systems. It crashed into the trees. More arrived. Ethan did not fight them directly. He led them. Into narrow paths, over unstable ground, toward predators that attacked machines as readily as flesh. Seelin watched in disbelief. This was not strength, this was understanding. One drone cornered them near a cliff, its weapon charged. Ethan stepped forward, placing himself between Seelin and the machine. Stop, he shouted, knowing they could hear. The drone hesitated. The council listened. This human refuses to surrender, an observer reported. He is shielding the alien, another added. The lead elder spoke. Fire. The weapon did not fire. The drone's systems locked. A new signal overrode the command. Seelin's voice echoed through the channel. Stand down, she said clearly. I take responsibility. Silence. The elders stared. You choose the human over your people, one demanded. Seelin looked at Ethan, then at the sky. I choose truth. The drones retreated. The forest breathed again. Ethan let out a long breath and sat heavily on the ground. His hands were shaking now, the danger finally catching up to him. Seelin knelt beside him. You should hate us, she said quietly. He looked at her, tired but calm. Maybe someday. Right now I'm just glad you're alive. Far above, the council watched the two figures in the fading light. They had expected chaos. They found something worse. A human who inspired loyalty. A human who did not dominate but connected. A human who could change the balance without ever firing a weapon. The classification systems failed. Threat levels recalculated. One elder finally spoke the words no one wanted to say. If there are more like him. There are, another replied. He is not special because he is unique. He is special because he is human. Below, Ethan stared up at the alien sky, unaware that his species had just been redefined, not as weak, but as something far more dangerous. Something that refused to be alone. The forest was quiet after the drones left. Too quiet. Ethan sat beside a fallen log, staring at the place where his shelter had once stood. Smoke still drifted between the trees. Years of work, memories, and survival were gone in a single moment. He felt the loss, but it did not break him. He had lost places before. Seelan stood nearby, her hands clenched tightly. She could feel the weight of what she had done pressing down on her. By speaking to the council, by stopping the attack, she had crossed a line that could never be erased. "They will not forget this," she said softly. Ethan nodded. "Neither will I." They moved deeper into the forest, away from the destroyed shelter. As they walked, Ethan showed her hidden paths and safe water sources. Seelan shared small devices that could heal, hide heat, and filter air. They learned each other's rhythms without speaking much. Trust grew quietly. That night they sat beneath a massive tree whose leaves glowed like stars. Ethan built a small fire. Seelan watched the flames dance, her expression thoughtful. "My people believed humans survive only with numbers," she said. "That alone, you become nothing." Ethan poked the fire with a stick. "We don't like being alone," he replied, "but we don't stop being human because of it." She looked at him. "You still hope," he smiled faintly. "Hope is annoying like that, it never really leaves." Far above them, the alien council gathered again. The data from the encounter replayed again and again. The human had not threatened, he had not begged, he had not surrendered, he had protected. "The subject has influenced one of our own," an elder said. "This cannot spread." Another replied, "It already has." They watched Seelan sit close to the human, unafraid. A final decision was made, not destruction, contact. At dawn, the sky changed. Light bent strangely, and a large alien craft descended silently beyond the trees. It did not attack. It waited. Seelan felt it immediately, her breath caught. "They are here." Ethan stood steady and calm. "Then let's meet them properly." They walked toward the clearing together. The council representatives emerged from the craft, tall and glowing, surrounded by soft energy shields. Their eyes focused on Ethan with intense curiosity. "You are the human," the lead elder said. "I am," Ethan replied. "My name is Ethan." Names mattered. The council noted that. "You have caused disruption," the elder continued. "You survived alone, you bonded with our observer, you resisted our technology." Ethan shrugged slightly. "I just lived." The elder studied him closely. "You were classified as insignificant." Seelan tensed. Ethan met the elder's gaze. "We get that a lot." There was no anger in his voice, only truth. The council spoke among themselves in low tones. Then the lead elder turned back. "Humans are emotional," it said. "Why did you protect Seelan?" Ethan answered without hesitation. "Because she protected me when she didn't have to." "That is not logical. It's human." The silence that followed was heavy. Finally, the elder lowered its shield slightly, a sign of respect. "Your species does not behave as predicted." Ethan smiled. "We rarely do." The council revealed the truth. Humans had been watched from afar for generations, considered too chaotic to approach, too dangerous when united, easier to ignore. Seelan spoke up then, her voice steady. "You were wrong." The elders looked at her. "This human did not dominate the forest," she continued. "He learned it. He did not conquer loneliness. He carried it and survived." The council processed this new data. "What do you want?" the elder asked Ethan. He thought carefully. "I want my people to be seen as they are. Not monsters, not tools, just people. And if we refuse," Ethan met their gaze, "then we'll still be here." That answer echoed through the council. They had seen his world. They had seen his limits. They had also seen his refusal to break. A decision was made. The elder spoke. "Humanity will be reclassified, not as insignificant, not as hostile." Ethan waited. "As resilient connectors," the elder finished. "A species capable of forming bonds beyond survival." Seelan's eyes filled with light. The council offered a choice. Ethan could return to human space, or stay as a bridge between species. Ethan looked at the forest, at Seelan, at the sky he had stared at for years alone. "I'll go home," he said slowly. "But not yet." The elder nodded. "Then this world will be protected." As the council departed, Seelan turned to Ethan. "You changed everything." He shook his head. "No, I just refused to disappear." They stood together as the forest glowed brighter than ever. Far away on distant worlds, new reports were written. Humans were no longer listed as weak. They were listed as dangerous in a new way, not because they destroyed, but because they endured, because even alone they carried humanity with them, and because once seen, they were never truly alone again.